So OpenAI is buying a streaming platform that Fiji Simo literally described as SportsCenter meets LinkedIn.
Which is brilliant. It is the exact consumer pivot they need right now.
Oh, come on. SportsCenter and LinkedIn, that is the most cursed combination of words I have ever read in an M&A announcement.
You just hate corporate synergy. But wait until we unpack Unilever spending $44.8 billion on McCormick.
Now that is a spice rack I can actually understand. The rundown. So Danone is buying Huel for exactly $1 billion.
Finally, the strategic synergy between French yogurt and Tech Bro Sludge is complete.
You laugh, but look at the margins on powder. You ship zero water. Danone knows exactly what they are doing here.
I just love the visual of a Parisian executive trying to pretend a shaker bottle of vanilla dust is cuisine. But fine, the supply chain makes sense. Speaking of supply chain, Ecolab is dropping $4.75 billion on Coolit Systems.
Which is a pure data center play. Ecolab does water treatment, CoolIT does liquid cooling for servers. AI is making servers run ridiculously hot. It is a brilliant bolt-on.
Classic picks and shovels, which brings us to the actual elephant in the spice rack. Unilever combining its food arm with McCormick, $44.8 billion.
Marmite and Old Bay under one roof.
It is a monster deal, pure scale. You control the grocery aisle from condiments to seasonings. The leverage they will have over retailers is insane.
If it ever closes.
Oh, come on, it is food, not semiconductors.
Nate, look at the timeline in the release. They are targeting a mid-2027 close.
That is just standard conservative lawyering. You build in a 3-year buffer for FTC noise.
3 years is not a buffer. 3 years is a hostage situation. If you need until mid-2027 to convince regulators that mayo and paprika are not a monopoly, your deal has serious structural flaws. I am watching the initial regulatory filings tomorrow like a hawk.
I think you are overreacting. Bankers just want to lock in the fees and deal with the antitrust headaches later.
We will see. Meanwhile, the rumor mill is spinning on Estee Lauder and Puy.
Yeah, whispers of a predominantly stock deal there. Also seeing SBAC Communications riding high on sale rumors. Cell towers are hot again.
Keep an eye on Gilead too. They just bought Uro Medicines for $2.2 billion, but tomorrow we need to watch them closely. They quietly extended their tender offer for Arcellx.
Strategic delay?
Smells like it. But honestly, none of that is the weirdest thing on our desk today.
Not even close.
OpenAI just bought a streaming platform. Fiji Simo just announced they are acquiring TBPN, which is literally being described as a mashup of SportsCenter and LinkedIn.
Sam Altman wants to be Bob Iger. I have so many thoughts on the valuation of this pivot. The big one. I read the press release 3 times, and I still do not know what SportsCenter meets a LinkedIn actually looks like.
It sounds like a horrific corner of the internet where finance bros post highlight reels of their Excel modeling.
Exactly, but Fiji Simo gets up there straight-faced and pitches this as the next frontier. OpenAI is buying TBPN, an AI company buying a streaming business.
I am struggling to find the logic here. You are building foundational models. You are burning billions on compute. Why on earth are you buying a weird hybrid entertainment platform?
Because they realize the chat interface is a dead end for mass consumer engagement. You need a sticky daily habit. TBPN gives them a content engine.
Nate, they are a tech infrastructure company. Every time a pure tech play tries to buy a media company, it ends in tears. Look at the history. Look at AOL Time Warner. Look at Verizon buying Yahoo.
This is different.
It is never different. You cannot just bolt a content studio onto a tech stack and call it synergy. Plus, I pulled the filings on TBPN's user metrics. They are entirely dependent on paid acquisition and push notifications to drive daily active users. Their organic growth is flat.
Okay, sure, the current metrics might be a little juiced, but think about the narrative. Attention is the new compute, Maya.
Oh, please. That is the most banker sentence you have ever said.
I know I hate myself a little bit for saying it, but hear me out. OpenAI needs proprietary data pipes, a platform that merges professional networking with video streaming. That is a goldmine for training their next generation of video models.
If they just wanted training data, they could license it for a fraction of the cost. You do not buy the whole cow when you just need a few terabytes of milk.
Wow, terabytes of milk. Gross, but effective.
You know what I mean? SEMO is a great product boss, but this feels like severe strategy drift. It feels like they are throwing darts at the consumer wall because the enterprise side is getting too crowded.
I completely disagree. I think it is a brilliant defensive move. The large language model is becoming a commodity. Distribution is the only real moat left. If they own the screen where professionals watch industry news and network, they own the workflow.
I will believe it when I see the integration actually work. Right now, it just looks like they had too much cash and got bored.
Well, speaking of companies with too much cash getting bored, we need to talk about the grocery store.
$44.8 billion to combine Marmot and Old Bay.
Unilever buying McCormick. The ultimate spice rack merger. We are breaking down the timeline and the regulatory hurdles right after this. Voices. I'm looking at this note from a major tech analyst calling OpenAI's purchase of TBPN a, quote, bold, unexpected shift into consumer entertainment.
I hate the word bold here. Unexpected, sure. But consumer entertainment? Fiji Simo literally described the Target platform as a mashup between SportsCenter and LinkedIn.
Okay, but imagine a highlight reel of someone closing a SaaS deal. Bam, high five, confetti drops, the crowd goes wild.
Exactly. Nobody wants that. It sounds like a corporate dystopia. I really don't see this as a pivot to Netflix-style streaming. This is OpenAI trying to own professional video content. They want to train their models on business interactions.
You are so cynical. I think they want eyeballs. You don't buy a streaming platform just for training data. You buy it to build a walled garden and keep people inside the OpenAI ecosystem.
Show me the user retention metrics for a B2B highlight reel and I'll change my mind. Until then, it's a pure data play dressed up as entertainment.
Fair enough. Let's pivot to a deal that is actually generating real numbers. Market analysts are officially calling Cintas a compelling buy. They're saying UniFirst's recent earnings entirely validate Cintas doing that $5.5 billion merger.
See, this is the kind of analyst note I actually like. No grand narratives about the future of media. Just looking at a competitor's margin squeeze and saying, yep, the consolidation thesis was right.
It's classic banker logic. If your rival is bleeding, your merger was a stroke of genius.
It was a stroke of genius because they locked in the scale before the market turned. The data actually supports the price tag.
Speaking of massive price tags and locking in scale, we need to talk about what's happening in the grocery aisles. Because combining Marmite and McCormick under one roof is certainly a choice.
A $44.8 billion choice, to be exact. Spill the tea.
I just can't see Puig wanting Estee Lauder paper right now.
Exactly. The rumor mill is churning out this idea of a predominantly stock deal between Estee and Puig, and I am staring at the charts going, who actually wants that equity?
Right? Puig just went public. They have their own family dynamics to manage. Taking Estee stock when their turnaround is still a massive work in progress? It feels like a banker's fever dream.
It totally feels like a trial balloon leaked by someone who desperately needs a narrative win.
See, I think there's real fire there. The prestige beauty space is getting squeezed. Speaking of strategic leaks, though, have you looked at SBAC Communications this morning?
Oh, the stock chart is hilarious. Just a straight vertical line.
Everyone loves a good cell tower sale rumor. I actually buy this one. The consolidation play makes too much sense right now.
I don't buy it. The stock gains perfectly mirror what a standard buyout premium would look like. Someone is definitely talking. You don't just wake up and decide a telecom erudite is actively exploring a sale without a very loud bird whispering in a hedge fund's ear.
You're so cynical today. Sometimes the market just connects the dots. Look at Cintas. Analysts are suddenly screaming that they're a compelling buy because UniFirst's earnings basically validated Cintas doing that $5.5 billion merger.
That's not a rumor, Nate. That's just competitive schadenfreude. UniFirst struggles, so Cintas looks like a genius.
Uniforms and floor mats, Maya? It's a highly cutthroat business.
Truly ruthless. But if you want to talk about actual behind-the-scenes drama, we need to keep an eye on Gilead tomorrow. They just extended the expiration date for their Arcellx tender offer.
right after dropping 2.2 billion on Uro medicines for their autoimmune pipeline.
Exactly. You don't just extend a tender offer for fun. I smell regulatory annoyance.
I smell a perfect transition. Because if we want to talk about deals that make absolutely zero sense on paper, we have to talk about OpenAI's latest shopping trip.
SportsCenter meets LinkedIn.
I still don't even know what that means. Tomorrow's radar. I am setting 3 different alerts for the Unilever and McCormick regulatory filings tomorrow. $44.8 billion of mayonnaise and garlic powder.
You really think we see anything interesting in the initial paperwork? They already flagged a mid-2027 close. They are settling in for a 2-year regulatory nap.
A nap? Have you met antitrust regulators lately? They're going to scrutinize the global supply chain of paprika. I guarantee the filings hint at divestitures.
I will take the under on that. My eyes are actually on Gilead. They just quietly pushed back the expiration date on their Arcellx tender offer.
Wait, really? Just extended it?
Right into the weekend. Smells like a strategic delay to me.
See, this is why I read the pitch decks and you read the footnotes. Speaking of reading the fine print, did you see the structure of those Estee Lauder and Puig rumors?
Predominantly stock, which tells me someone is very worried about cash flow, but we can tear that apart after the break.